Hey, Katie. Oh my God. Are we really doing this?
We are. Welcome to Higher Downloads, where two moms, entrepreneurs, and spiritual seekers are getting real about doing our best to live life in alignment.
Yeah, and by getting real, we mean the raw, unfiltered voice memo version of ourselves.
And you know what we're really obsessed with lately: higher
hmm
downloads.
You know that moment when clarity arrives seemingly from nowhere? That's it. That's the higher download from your highest self.
Exactly, because we know everyone has the ability to access their own higher downloads. So nothing is off limits here. Everything in the wheel of life, from career, spirituality, motherhood, relationships.
Yep, everything. And really through the lens of higher consciousness and joy. And we have to share our higher downloads too, right? So grab your coffee
Or your crystals, or whatever you need to have fun with us.
and get ready to tune in to your own wisdom channel because receiving higher downloads means you can live your life in HD.
Higher Downloads starts now. Welcome back to Higher Downloads.
Yes, and literally welcome back to us back home from a recent trip.
And Pura Vida, baby.
Pura Vida.
Do we sound like Costa Ricans?
Highly doubt, but and you wouldn't know because I obviously don't tan, so it's not like I came home with the tan. But inside I feel different.
Like a whole new woman.
How do you feel?
I had so many clarifying moments, especially on the plane ride home. I was journaling. I felt inspired. I felt reinvigorated. I was already working on other things, journaling my notes, like, oof, open portal on the way home. It was amazing.
And it started for me our last night, our last day, sorry, last morning. I went on the beach. It was like in 8 days, my first alone time pretty much ever. You know, when you sleep with your family in the same room, it's a thing on vacation. And I got to do like kind of just like my meditations and my stretches. And I did this amazing like walking activation. And it was almost like I could feel my soul integrating the week. And I was like, and so it started for me then, and then it felt really good to come home. And I swear, when I have these important, big, especially out of the country vacations, I come home and I feel like I look at things differently. Like my house looks or feels different.
Ooh, your house looks and feels different.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. What about,
I I thought you were going to say feels different or something about the culture, because that's always one thing that I have noticed is I just feel more connected to the world when I've experienced another place, and just like that emotional bandwidth of empathy or seeing, I don't know, it just really opens you up. I know there was a Harvard study that talked about how travel, seeing other people's culture has a direct impact on empathy. And I definitely feel that. And it really just like rewires your us versus them. And you feel so isolated when you're at home and you go see a whole nother world. You realize there's so much more happening out there all the time.
yes,
But
I felt it. And as a parent, like we traveled, we should probably clarify. We went to Costa Rica, your family, my family, and another family.
yes, that's true.
And because of that, I was going to say traveling with my son and seeing it through his eyes reminds me how much I'm opening up his world. And then it's so fun. It's like a double fun dose of feeling connected to the world.
Absolutely. Well, and you see it through their eyes for the first time again, if you've already seen some things in the world, right? I think we've both traveled a fair amount. So seeing them see new things is so special.
It is
But
so.
I want to go back to the house and everything looking different. Tell me more about that.
Okay, so it could just be like whatever, like mind tricks or things. But it was like, I remember, you know how our house is, right? I have a window that looks at our kitchen window at the sink. It looks into our backyard. And I was like washing my hands, and the flora and fauna and animals, the exotic animals in Costa Rica, it is just lush and abundant and beautiful. And we saw, and I think I had gotten into this groove of really, we were on this hunt for all the crazy animals we could find. And I was just looking out of my backyard, which is just my backyard. It's very plain. And I saw some squirrels like scurrying, but they didn't look like squirrels at first. It was like, oh my God, we have monkeys in our backyard because we saw howler monkeys. And then it was like, oh gosh, I was just appreciating that usually at this point in Austin in the summer, our grass is completely fried and brown because of the drought and the heat. And we had green grass, and I was like, oh, look how lush our backyard is. So that's what I mean by that. Like, just like this, the way that I was approaching it was like feeling like, oh, I'm integrating some of the exotic and appreciation and gratitude into here. Does that
Y-
make more sense?
Yes, yes. Yeah, your eyes have adjusted to seeing different things and now you're bringing that new looking for something different at home. I can see that.
Which is what we want to talk about, or what I want to talk about, because the way you just defined that is exactly what I'm taught. Like, I think travel is so spiritual. I think travel is a portal. And I really want to unpack that. Can we unpack that more?
Let's unpack it. We are unpacking travel today. What travel is like, what it does for us, why it's so important. Just
And
basically the feelings that go with it.
there's so much. And exactly what you said about the Harvard study, when I was teaching full time MBA students between their first and second year at the University of Texas, they were not required, but strongly encouraged to go on. They ran these international trips for them. It was like a 3 week in it between semesters that they would go. And I was really lucky. My class was always late summer, right when they got back from their travel. And I would tell them a lot about the brain science, about what just opened up for them and why I was excited to teach them. And I taught entrepreneurship. So I always felt like my class was really well timed right after their brains and minds and, dare I say, spirits got opened up to something new. So I just, and travel is probably my most favorite thing that we can do in this human life.
And I agree. It is travel has always been a novel. The novelty of it, the experiencing something new has always been really exciting for me. And seeing other cultures has always been heart opening for me. And I do know a lot of people that say that they don't like to travel or they don't want to travel, they don't aspire to travel. And I just wonder, what is it that they're, is change uncomfortable? Is seeing someone else hungry or living in a different lifestyle uncomfortable? Like, what is it? Because, oof, it's just so heart opening for me.
Yeah. It I can't imagine my world being as that tiny and feeling so insecure to not to just see. I have this insatiable curiosity for it. But you're right, there are people. I know someone who cut their honeymoon short because they missed being home. And like so I mean, but that's not us. And I was just telling you about my MBA students, and I think we both we both have done a lot of work on our own nervous systems and understanding our nervous systems and regulation and capacity. And I thought, and I have a book coming out about the nervous system, so obviously I'm always thinking about it. And I had sort of two things that I realized on the trip that I wanted to share with you regarding the nervous system specifically. I posted about one on social media, but it occurred to me at one point when I was like frolicking and doing things, and I was like, we even talk about whimsy on this podcast, like, but I was like so in my body and in the experience. And later I was looking back at pictures and I was like, I love these pictures, not because I wasn't posing or performing. I was like experiencing it. And I was like, oh man, I forgot that so much of my work is about how do people experience me. I'm an executive coach, I'm a facilitator, I do workshops, I am a keynote speaker. So I'm always trying to read the audience in real time so I can recalibrate. And even though we also did an episode of performance versus authenticity, that's just part of the job, right? That makes me good at my job, but I'm more practiced at it's called like the surveillance part of my brain, that I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to care about what people thought about. Like there was no surveillance mode because I didn't care about, I wasn't monitoring someone else's expectations of how I was enjoying vacation. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Interesting. Yes, it does make sense. But I will add, we often don't travel in groups. Like it's most often just me, my core family. And so I think this was a good experience for me. This is something I've wanted for a long time. And it's been on my manifestation list to find like-minded families that have similar interests, similar like budgets and travel interests and kid dynamics and all the things. And so it was a really special moment for me to be able to see that manifestation come to life. However, because I'm used to travel is like, I just do whatever I want, like no plans, go with the flow, like very whatever, having other people to consider, right? Like timelines, when are we meeting up? What are we doing together? What do you want to do? Like that was a whole different level of surveillance, would be one way to think of it. To where I was like, this is just a different dynamic for me to be operating, considering so many other people in the travel dynamic. Not saying it's a bad thing, just saying it was different.
Yeah, actually, so I appreciate you saying that. So yes, I can't say that that was the entire trip. That specific part I was talking about was, so the three families, we traveled together for several days, and then for the back half of the trip, we each went our separate ways. So
Mm,
I'm talking about a point where I wasn't a separate, and so
got
when
it.
I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, actually, there was still a surveillance mode moment. I actually got hurt, and a rock was thrown, and it happened to find my head. And I was in a lot of pain at a beautiful waterfall. And it was like kind of marred a moment that was really beautiful for me. I'm a water sign. I love being in the water. And the second I realized I was very scared of being concussed, it hurt a lot. My head was throbbing. The knot formed immediately. Thankfully, your husband is like basically, he deserves an honorary Eagle Scout for all the things he does and his first aid kit that he carries. And he had an ice pack and Advil ready to go. But there was a moment when I realized, okay, I'm not concussed. I will be able to get up these 500 stairs from the waterfall. I'm okay. I noticed how upset my son was. I noticed how upset other people were. And there was a moment, kind of like you said, keeping other people in mind. I was like, well, I don't want other people to feel like womp 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 and like their energy be down. Even though I was kind of pissed and hurting, I sort of just made a choice to like not lean into the pain as much as I would have probably liked to. So I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. But and also what a beautiful thing to just notice that you can have those different moments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it gave me an opportunity to say, well, what do I really want? What do I really need? And not allow, a lot of times there's the people pleasing or there's the considering others above yourself sort of a thing going on. And I think having that opportunity was great to say, like, no, I can be with people and also do what I need and not
Oh,
let
yeah.
let that dictate what I want to do. So yeah, it's a fun balance.
Yeah, I know that was cool. And it was really neat to have us all decide like, oh, these are things we all want to do, or oh no, this family's going to do this here. And the other nervous system thing I was going to say is our default mode network is a part of your brain that gets on a loop. Shocker, we stay in loops 60% of the time. Like who I am,
Literally, our brain is designed to do loops.
because it's the most efficient thing, right? It's like a processing machine. And if it doesn't have to, when your computer is like, or like the fan's going too high and, it's on overdrive, it's easier to loop. And so there are all kinds of psychological studies that say when we break the environment, then our ego gets a chance to get a little quieter. And we do get to kind of open up and stop that default mode network. So that's really fun. I love that about travel. And I loved that about being with new people, or like with people we know, but in a new environment and new options and new food. And so that was cool.
Yeah, you got to really be open. And the nervous system piece, too. One thing I've noticed is travel. Like, let's think about all the pieces that are a component of travel. There's time, right? Taking time away, stepping away from work, time off. There's the money. It's often expensive, usually, right? And usually you're spending more money when you're there. So there's the money component. Then there's the unknown and the change, right? Like you don't know exactly everything that's coming or what it's going to be like or if you're going to find your favorite food there, right? So I think about all of those things, and all of those things are so easily become stressors if your nervous system isn't regulated and you aren't ready and taking care of yourself to know what you need and what you want. So I can understand how some of those travel things can become stressors if you have that loop and that pattern that make it where money feels scarce, time feels scarce, change or unknown feels scarce. I can easily see how you can get in that loop.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I could see it not feeling exciting as we've been talking about. And a lot of people are like, I just need a vacation. I just need to unplug, right? And like actually feel your nervous system regulate and kind of downshift. But there were moments where my nervous system was activated. When we first got there, it was pouring down rain and we had no clue. It was you've been before. It was our first time in Costa Rica. Totally like read how windy and curvy and sharp, and there's no shoulder. We're driving in my husband's driving, the pouring down rain. It's windy. There is like a cliff. There's like the road and then a cliff. And so he's like white knuckling through at the very beginning of the vacation. And then we got into rest and digest. That's when we all decided the next day had to be a pool day. We couldn't go on an excursion. But yeah, I could see what you're saying. If you are really in scarcity or those things really bother you, your anxiety, like then travel could exacerbate those things.
Yeah, I can see if those things always get triggered when you think about travel, why you might avoid it.
Yeah. But I still love it so much.
I
Rocks
do
and all.
too. It is such a portal, and I think I really want to hear more about. So I'll tell you this fun. I don't know how literal they were being, and so I'm just going to say it as like a fun idea to think about it this way about
Okay.
travel literally being a portal. So like
Ooh,
if
I've seen it. I've seen people talk about it. Yeah.
yeah, like we've talked about how if the world is a simulation, right? And I heard this really fun theory where the longer the plane ride, that means it's going to be even more different where you're going. And you need more time for that simulation to load because the people are different, the food are different, the animals are different. So, like thinking of yourself in the plane over the clouds, you can't see what's happening below. And it's because the whole simulation has to reload. Isn't that such a fun way to think about it?
Yes. Oh my God. And I watched The Matrix for the first time on a plane, so that like makes total sense about the
I
simulation.
love that you finally watched The Matrix.
I know it's been a long time coming, and it was great to watch it on a plane. It was like, is this even real? Yeah, I've heard a lot, and I've seen people on social media that I follow talk about planes or airports or things as portals. And I've loved the mind exercise of it. And so you just mentioned the clouds, and I know that there's a lot of ancient cultures and even Greek mythology that the clouds and the sky are like where heaven or God exists. And so I like even just that idea that being 10, 30,000 feet up in the air in the clouds, like what that could even do. And I was looking it up because I was curious about that. And when I was looking it up about being like, what does that do for gravity? Because of our electromagnetic fields in our bodies and on our heart and gravity in the ground, the way they pressurize cabins, they pressurize them to be around 8,000 feet, 8 to 10,000 feet. So when you actually get on the plane, when they shut the plane door, it's not all in your head if you feel like you're having less oxygen. Like it
Hmm.
actually, there truly is a disconnect from Earth's electromagnetic fields, like when we're in planes.
Wow. Yeah, I trying to wrap my mind around the science that's going on to get this massively heavy metal
Too.
object flying through the air. And then yeah, the pressure and the oxygen, like that makes my head want to explode. But I hear you.
Yeah, it really does. Like, and I have these moments where I'm like, did they do the calculations right? Are we good?
They've got it down to a science and it is impressive, but it is a wild concept.
It is.
Yeah, we are. We're so high. We're above the clouds. I mean, everything really is, it's a different experience for us to go through. And I feel it in my body every time.
Oh yeah. I love watching my son always wants to sit by the window and I love watching him get so excited upon landing and takeoff when he realizes perspective changes, like how cars get so tiny and buildings get so tiny. And I love having that perspective change. But you said you feel so different when I think that's the other idea of portal, or God, I do wish teleportation was really real. because then we wouldn't have to deal with all the customs and the waits and the delays and the airports. But when I stepped on that plane, I was like already in Costa Rica.
Mhm.
And I think
Vacation mode activated.
yes, and I just think like there's so much and so much research, so much around intention and visualization and aligned action. And so if you've done that, you've made the intention to go on a trip, you've visualized what are the options, where are we going to stay, what could we eat, you've done all that, and you've taken aligned action, and now you're boarding the plane. Like just that feels spiritual in and of itself.
Well, it is, and it is a choice that you're making, right? You could choose to be grumpy or tired or stressed or overwhelmed, right? Like you can choose that, or you can choose to view it as vacation as part of the experience of the airport, which I totally agree. That's also part of my thing is like I think the airport is fun, and I know that some people think travel in the airport is stressful. I'm like, no, it's fun. Like it's a game, it's fun. Like it's part of the fun, it's part of the travel.
Well, we had fun. We mentioned it on our whimsical episode, but now it has transpired. What
It
kind of fun did we
transpired and
have?
it was better than ever expected.
I
So
feel like
we,
we should put a picture on social or when we release this episode so people can see the outfits that we all had.
yep, we did the viral trend where we drew names of all the adults, drew a name, and you got your person, and then you got to pick out the airport outfit for them that they had to wear during the travel experience at the airport. And then we unboxed them at the airport and changed clothes right away.
Yes, and my favorite was just the reaction of all the people around us. We had people videoing it. We had that lady come up and say like about her travel with her family and they were going to do something similar. I don't know. And then
We had somebody ask us to adopt them because they wanted to
yeah,
be part of our families.
yeah, there was a bartender like there. We were walking down that corridor. I don't know if you remember. There was a bartender and she yelled something really exciting, and then we went back and she was like, "Everybody was talking about y'all, and most people decided y'all were going to Disney." And well, there were a few people who had these like Borat like costumes where it was a T-shirt, but it looked like a hairy man's chest. And she's like, "I don't think they're going to Disney when they look half naked."
Yeah, we were a little not Disney friendly on
Yeah,
some
we had
of
a
them.
banana costume and an Abraham Lincoln, and even though the flight attendant said you were Abraham Lincoln, she said you're Benjamin Franklin. We brought lots of joy to other people. We laughed. There was some teenagers that took my husband's photo, so God only knows what Snapchat or Instagram he's now on.
Yep, yep. It was really fun to see the joy in other people. And I guess the funny thing, though, is on our very first plane, we spent a lot of time, right? We were at the airport early. We were there an hour early. We had a lot of time. So everybody on the plane had seen us already. They saw us change clothes.
Yeah.
Well, then we did the layover that was very fast, and it was a much bigger plane we were going on to. And I realized as soon as we walked in, oh, the energy is different because these people have no idea what's
No,
happening.
it's
They hadn't seen us before. Then they just see us walking in looking all crazy. And sometimes you're like, oh, the crazy person on the plane. Like, but
uh
some people smile, but it was a totally different energy on that second plane ride.
It was really funny boarding. Our family was the last ones to board, and we're watching y'all go down, and we're seeing like your husband's banana hat and your like Abe Lincoln hat. And the kids didn't switch outfits, but we got them all crazy fun tie-dye shirts with like funky animals on. And so like we looked like a motley crew. Like we definitely did. No, you're right. We got the stares, the questions. We had a few people. If you don't mind if I ask, what's going on? But everyone thought it was funny. The flight attendants loved it. So,
I did think it was interesting. I had at least one person, I want to say maybe two people that asked and said, why? And it was so fun to just say,
really,
just because.
just
Like,
for
yeah, they were like, why are you dressed up? Like, just for fun.
no one asked me why. Actually, everyone we who asked what was going on, and I said we did the airport swap thing, they were like, "Oh yeah." Huh. You just got the uninformed ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had so much fun. Airport, planes, our portals were high. We were challenging electromagnetic signals, the brain frequencies, our oxygen, like all that. But then like what about being there and coming home? Anything you want to talk about that?
Well, my big thing is this is my first, what I called like a laptop free vacation in several
Your
years.
first?
Yeah. I mean, in several years, not like first ever.
Yeah. Okay.
But first in several years because I've been building my own business and working for myself or, having my realtor license, helping people, you don't get to just check out when that kind of stuff is going on. But I have a team now. And so I was able to say like, hey guys, I'm going and I'm not going to be working on the side. Like this is my whole intention to go and not be checking my email and not be having to keep things moving along. And so for me, getting there was truly a detachment from day to day life. And I went into it with that mindset of like, this is going to feel so different. I'm not going to worry about what else is going on back home. And I'm going to actually put things down and experience that. And it was so lovely and gave me so much time to just have more blank space and feel and be present. And the fun part is then at the end on the way home, I'm like open portal for ideas of like what I really want to refocus on when I get back home.
Did you feel yourself reaching for it at any point?
No,
No. That's
no.
great.
Yeah, no, no. No, I don't, I'm good. I like to separate. It's just
Yeah.
really like, I don't say that like in the past that, and I just mean the last like 2 years that I had some kind of toxic, like, I have to work. I'm like, no, I really don't believe that. It really was just like, I legit had a contract and a deadline, like stuff like that, that really actually had to be done. And whenever you don't have a team, it's you or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, no, I definitely am all good with letting other people do things for me and checking out.
No, that's so fair. That's so fair. And the way you described like you're coming back in the portal, right? And you're having your brain is all these downloads, all these options. It's what we hear in every research study. It's what we hear from therapists. It's what we hear from like Buddhists and monks and like about we have to unplug, we have to quiet. And it's in those moments when we reset, when we do have a different environment, when we allow ourselves to be present, that then the creative, like we can restart. And it's like, it's just not lost on me. I mean, even cell phones have to be unplugged and turned off like technology. So of course humans have to. And then it's just like the refresh is so real, which is don't even get me started on only 2 weeks of PTO in American capitalistic society, because I feel like if you really want the best of humans, we should be giving like at minimum 2 months off of work. Not all in a row, but like, that amount.
You
Eight
said
weeks
a very
minimum.
important thing though, Katie. You said if you want the best of people. And we know that's not what they really want. That's a different soapbox.
It's easier for when people are to control them when they're burned out and exhausted and they're
That's
feeling like robots.
correct. Ding,
Uh,
ding, ding.
and that's why you watch The Matrix on the plane, because then you understand about being controlled.
That's right. That's right. No,
Uh,
I do. I agree. It really is that clean slate. And what's interesting is when I talk about now that I'm coming home, I feel this momentum and this excitement. It's never about the like last 20 little to do things I need to do. It's always about the bigger picture, what matters the most, and like what's the most important. We talk about the one thing. It was like all I was excited about was the one thing. Like this is gonna change the business. This is what I'm gonna focus on next. Not like, oh, I'm getting back into my to-do list and I have 20 things I have to knock out. It's a totally different energy.
I love that. My to-do list looks so different before we left. I felt like I was taking care of a lot of little nuanced things. And then when I came home, it was like, oh, like vision, big thing, bigger picture. So that is cool to think about a comparison of like it refocuses you on the bigger, what really moves the needle, what really gets you excited. I don't want to lose this before we said that about companies. I do want to say though, I have two clients, two companies who have now instituted 4 week sabbaticals in their organization when you hit a certain thing, and people are very happy, and I'm seeing some shift in that in organizations, and the stories and the anecdotes and how they come back from their 4 week sabbaticals different. So I am hopeful, but about the like companies keeping people in on the hamster wheel, treadmill, whatever. But
I'm hopeful too. That is so nice to hear. I love that.
yeah, two companies I work with do the 4 week sabbaticals. So even
That's
though
very
I
cool.
should be eight, but
Yeah.
you know, when I run the world. But okay. So no, the big vision. Okay. So stay with me there on the big vision. So how are you doing things differently? Like how are you integrating Pura Vida, Costa Rican, abundance, beautiful, lush? How are you bringing that in?
It's a great question. And I often think about this when I come back from a long weekend or come back from something fun is I don't want to have the energy where it's like night and day difference. Like you said something earlier about being on vacation and I need a vacation. Like that's the only way you can let go and relax.
There are some
And
people.
that I'm always thinking, how can I bring that same feeling of relaxation into my day-to-day life so that I don't feel like I need a vacation from my life at all? But I wouldn't say I don't have a tangible answer for you. It's a feeling, it's an essence. I'm trying to keep my pace slow and I'm trying not to go like, oh, I'm back 100 miles an hour right back into it, right? And keep my pace, my reentry slow. I will say life has not allowed me to do that though. I got back in town, daughter
And
broke her wrist. We've
the
had
first day of summer
first day
camp.
back at summer camp. So I it's and that's also allowed made me slow down, right? Like my week when I got back got derailed. So it is a little bit of a like, Pura Vida, I guess that's all I can do. I don't know. It's a giving up for me.
No, I
Giving
hear
up
you.
control.
I hear you. And I think, if you live in a way that the vacation is the release and you need it so bad and you come back, life's the first thing that happens, it is going to throw you off kilter. The afterglow will just diminish. And it was a pretty tough week with y'all coming back and her breaking her wrist. I felt so sorry for y'all. But I hear you saying like still getting, and like Abraham Hicks. We watched a lot of Abraham Hicks, and one of the big things there is it's not like shit's not going to happen. It's that you can get back to that place. And that was a big goal for me when I left corporate and I started on my own too, was like, I don't want to have to need a vacation from my life and work. And it feels so much more additive and exciting. And but yeah, I very much can understand and remember what it was like when I was like this desperate to get away, and then coming home was hard because then I was almost like angry that I had to return. And thank God for that shift.
Yeah, good point. Good point. There are definitely a few comments from people that are employed that were having that kind of reentry pain. And I do question I know part of my severe pain was that I really was clear that wasn't my path. I need to get off of that path. But I know there's other people that aren't necessarily needing to make that extreme of a shift, right? To completely quit. They'd never have a job. Like I know there is some peace in that you can find if that's not your calling to quit, right? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
always,
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder what I don't think everybody has to hate their job after vacation, right? I think some people can have a job and come back from vacation and not hate coming back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hope.
for sure. For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think it's an all or nothing thing. I do wonder, like, I think about, people they travel and they bring back souvenirs or things. And when you said it's more of a feeling or an essence, I think that's my favorite things from my last three big trips. Like, we do buy art and we do those things, but I really do feel like every time I've done a big trip in the last 3 years, I do feel this like almost quantum leap, like a level up. You remember I came back from vacation last summer. We did a yacht trip of the south coast of Turkey. It was so luxurious. And I was like, I am a woman who has lived a week on a yacht. Like, I have a different, like, I have yacht energy. Like,
You have quantum leaped.
yes, and like that is, it's just different. Like, and my son is so cute. I'm sure your girls in some ways too. Like we're talking about Lincoln, he's so proud of how he did on the zip line, and it was a little scarier than even I would like to have admitted at first. But like he's like, I'm a kid who zip lined over the rainforest,
That's so
like
cute.
that. You bring that back with you far more than just the sand or in your shoes or the souvenirs you buy. Like you bring experiences back that I think can really alchemize your essence.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the children piece is is a big thing too. Read a study, it was like over 60%. It was a large amount of people that say that their childhood memories are the things that they remember the most vividly in their life. And I agree. That's the same. I have that experience, so I definitely think about that with our kids and being like, this is the moment that they are going to have their biggest memories if we can make childhood memories by travel. So it's really special. But I want to go back to the big, you're saying almost like quantum leaps or big shifts that you've had during different trips. So tell me a little bit more about those.
Okay, so the two, in addition to Costa Rica felt big in a different way, but it was really special to travel like with families and then to do our own thing. That felt like a cool level up and very exciting. But my number one, my husband and I have been together more than half our lives. College sweethearts. We went on our first official date, and I remember vividly, like they had just brought the appetizer, and he's like, "What's your number one bucket list?" Which is like such a sweet thing to ask on a first date. And without fail, I was like, without a hesitation, I'm like, Greece. Like I have always wanted to go to Greece. And so we eventually made that happen a couple years ago, the year we turned 40. And I was a changed woman. First of all, I was at the very tail end of stuck in burnout corporate culture, and I had kind of hit my wits' end. And when I was in Greece, I remember there was a point where I was like chatting with strangers and doing all these things and laughing. And I like caught myself and I'm like, who dis? Like I haven't wanted to even look at a stranger or talk. Like I was so ugh, and it was just such a reminder that the way you feel on the inside, the outside world reflects it. And then it was like, oh my God, and then that, but your environment can then also shift how you feel internally. And then there was just so much, and I'm a water sign, so water and everything. But I came back, and one of the big things, like I said, I'd been holding it as my number one bucket list for so long, and I came back. I'm like, who am I now? When my after decades that I've experienced my number one bucket list, like who does that make
Hmm.
me? And then I'm like, it makes me someone who actually does what I want to do. And then left corporate, started my own business. And it was like, Katie, it was like I mean, you were there for a lot of it, like as my friend, right? It was like, I felt unstoppable. I'm like, who am I if I actually check off the number one thing on my bucket list? Well, then I go after what I want. And I made it like, it was like, and it almost like I didn't have to work so hard that like push and pull. Like I was in the flow. It was like the universe conspired with me and starting my own business and getting those first clients and doing those things. Oh, I'm getting chills just talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it showed you that you can do anything and you can be easy. I think that's what's really
What
important
if
is
it
that
gets to be easy and fun? Like I have a sticky note right by my desk. What if it
it
gets to
gets
be
to be
easy and fun?
easy and fun. That's exactly right. And just let it happen, right? Without having to force it. And then not also waiting, being like, when I'm retired, then I can travel to international countries. No, no,
I
no, no.
hate that shit because then it's like feel like you have to earn it, and that just keeps adding more and more of the cultural layering of we aren't whole and deserving and beautiful. So anyway, that was big. You've done some cool international travel and stuff. Do you have any kind of things that felt like an unlock for you?
Yeah, I mean, Tokyo was my big destination. That was like my number one. Being a small town Texas girl, going all the way to Asia and let alone to the big city of Tokyo, felt like, yeah, like it did. Being there, I'm like in New York City energizes me. And so being in like an even bigger city, even more energy in
More
Tokyo.
people, more people live in Tokyo than in Canada.
I mean, and Katie, we went
Crazy.
up to one of the big towers where you like can overlook. It's insane. It just keeps going. It doesn't end. It's crazy. And for me, that energized me so much. And to go to like Shinjuku, to all the like really crazy clothes and just seeing their expression and seeing their different culture. The biggest thing for me was seeing how different their culture is, their culture and how they relate to each other, their culture and how they think of publicly how they act versus internally. And seeing, for me, this was my huge unlock, was seeing how where I'm from, America, right? America, America, like I didn't know anything other than that, right? And then going to Tokyo and seeing how different it is to be from America and how we're conditioned and how culturally we interact out loud, and just seeing that contrast really helped me reframe, like, this is what I've learned to be. This is not the only way there is to be. And seeing that huge contrast really like gave me a whole new perspective on the world.
I know that's one of my favorite things of travel is I love to be challenged on the things that I accept as norms or normal.
Mm,
But back to
absolutely.
our point, like we want that and we invite that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there was this like very funny moment in Greece where it was in our early days. Like then we got used to it, right? But we went to this place, obviously on an island. We're on a Greek island, and the waitress comes at a restaurant, and we said, "What's the fresh fish of the day?" And she's like, "Oh," and she like walks. I don't even think she said, "Oh," she just walked away from our table, and Paul and I are like, Did she understand us?" And then she returns holding this huge, like, like waiters and waitresses carry like those big, like, I don't know, 3 foot circumference, like big trays. And it has dead fish on it, like just fresh cut on ice, like a big pile of ice and fish, like you would see when you go to the grocery store in America, but it's on this like platter she's carrying. And
Oh
she
my
like
gosh.
leans part of the platter on our table and he's like, these fish to this morning, these fish, and whatever. And then like I'm having culture shock of like, she brought the raw, like the fish to our table, like gross. Anyway, so we pick, well, first of all, and then she's poking it because she wants you to see that the skin's
How fresh it
real
is.
skin,
Yeah.
how fresh it is. And then we picked out one fish and she wouldn't even let us have it. She goes, no, this fish for baby. Because we had told her we were like, had just gotten to Greece. She wanted us to feast on this fish. So anyway, she ended up picking our fish. It was hilarious. But like she left and Paul and I's eyes were like as big as golf balls. Like, what just happened? We had a good laugh. And then we were like, we came back to America and we're like, do you know how weird it is that we just trust if they have fresh fish written on a chalkboard at a restaurant, especially one not by water, that we just trust it's fresh fish? Like, it's the silliest example, but it just I love those ideas of like being challenged and how could we do things better? What would be a different way or why? I don't know. It's just a silly example, but
No, but there's so many. You see so many little things and you start questioning, wait, my one of my favorites, my husband and I went to Spain and Portugal for our 10-year anniversary, and I remember being in Madrid and we had stayed at little Airbnbs. It was really cool because we were just like with all the other people in their little apartments.
their
And
house,
we
yeah.
had this little patio and it looked across to other little patios, or like everyone's windows are open, whatever. And we're just chilling. We're on vacation. I'm looking out the window and it's like Tuesday at 2 p.m. And I'm like, there's a dude in his underwear. This lady's taking a nap. This lady's like reading a book. I'm like, this whole mindset about siesta, like it's a real thing. And I'm over here hustling my ass off in America every day. Like, no siesta, not cool. It was so cool to see, like, oh, this is why everybody wants to come work remote and live over here and like have a totally different vibe.
Yeah, so much slower pace, and actually, there's so much in our most human circadian rhythms that shows us that when several cultures take that siesta, it actually is for our biological rhythm and blood sugar. Like, and no, not in America. You get up at 4 a.m., you get your workout in, and then like you go to bed at midnight. Like, yeah, you repeat, and you like live on caffeine and stuff. So. I know, I just love that. I love so much about the opening of, okay, if it's a simulation, I love the unlocking of other levels. I love exploring other worlds and how are they coded and what do I want to bring back into my world.
That's right. Whole new perspective, whole new shift. That's what I mean too when I say heart opening. Like it is heart opening from an empathy of just like relating to others, but also just from a seeing brand new things that you just weren't seeing before. And that is the beauty of the new experience.
It is. And since sort of my spiritual awakening, and since this, like one of the core themes in so many religions as well, but if practiced correctly, is that we're all connected. And I love now that I do feel like I have in my essence, in my aura, in my, like as part of this human experience I'm having right now, I now feel connected to Costa Ricans. And that was that wasn't in my little portfolio yet, even though we are. Like, I've never been to Tanzania, whatever. Like, I'm connected to them, but like when you experience that connection, oh, it just feels so much more alive in me. So I feel like when I travel, I literally become more alive. So that's my spiritual, I love being able to meet others who I am already connected to.
Yeah, and I do think the Pura Vida thing is a really important distinction because, I mean, Costa Rica is a beautiful country and they seem to be very proud. They seem to have a very high pride in their country and their beauty of there and like the Pura Vida mindset of like pure life, but it just means joy basically, like use it in so many different contexts. Like walking away from that, it was like I feel a lot of American pride, even though I also have a lot of criticisms. I feel very proud to be of this country. There's a lot of wonderful things about it. And then to go to another country that is beautiful but different in so many different ways and to see their pride. Like, remember David, his tattoo made in Costa Rica? Like, this one service guy at the hotel that was with us almost every day, taking care of us. Amazing. He
Yeah,
had like four Costa Rican pride tattoos. That was so cool to see.
you did. He also had a little spaceship with an alien being beamed up, and we're like, tell us more.
He was fun.
It was fun. I know, and I think that's it. Like, we know David in Costa Rica now. Like,
Right.
my son will always remember Armando in Mexico. Like, and just like I had some very special people that we met in Turkey last year, and like, well, you'll never see them again, or like sometimes you do connect with people on social media, but it's like, I don't know, our souls got to have a little rendezvous in this lifetime, and I just think that's so freaking fun and beautiful.
It is. It's so special.
Cool. Well, I would like to just say that for people who are listening, if you like travel or you're maybe a little more hesitant of travel, if you want to feel these sort of feelings of abundance after, being present is so key. It's so, so key to like take those breaths. And oh, I did see this cute little thing on social media where this mom was filming her daughter and she was writing in the sand at the beach, whatever her name was, like Kylie is here. And the mom like did this thing where she was like, that's interesting. When I ever wrote as a child, I always said like I was here. And she was like, Kylie is here. And then she did this cute little caption of like, what if we all just said like I am here? Like, that like idea of presence.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Setting the intention, doing some fun rituals to be present. I think there's just a lot of ways you can kind of embody your trip, right? Like being embodied is not just about your physical experience, about your intention and your surroundings as well.
Yeah. And the journaling is great. I've really enjoyed journaling so that I could integrate it in. So I will say though, after several days, the squirrels don't look like monkeys anymore, but the spirit of I now know what it feels like to float in a pool and watch howler monkeys above me, that spirit remains.
That portal for your mind, body, and soul, it will never leave you after you've had the chance to go through it. So it is so, so beautiful and rewarding.
It is. And since this is a high travel time for most Americans this summer, we hope that as you travel, you will continue to trust your higher downloads.
And while you're traveling, you can listen to our higher downloads episodes.
Yeah, binge. Till next time.
You just experienced another higher download. We are so grateful you joined us on this journey.
Yep, so if you're feeling that high vibe energy and want more, subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if this episode sparks something in you, we'd be over the moon if you'd share it with someone who might need this download too.
Yep, connect with us on Instagram at Higher Downloads, where we share more behind the scenes magic and some bonus content.
You can also find full episodes, transcripts, show notes, and resources at higherdownloads.com.
Until next time, trust your downloads and keep vibrating higher.